Did you know that one of the scariest movies ever made originally had a version so terrifying and graphic that it was literally lost forever, never to be seen by human eyes again? I'm talking about the legendary and deeply unsettling sci-fi horror film Event Horizon. Most people know it as that wild, terrifying ride about a spaceship that journeys into a dimension of pure chaos and comes back haunted. But what you might not know is that the movie we got was actually the tame version. The original cut was so extreme, so nightmarish that even the studio couldn't handle it. Released in 1997, Event Horizon was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson and starred Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Neill. It was pitched as The Shining in space, and the premise was simple but horrifying. A rescue crew investigates a ship that disappeared years earlier and is now mysteriously returned. But the ship, the Event Horizon, didn't just go missing, it traveled through a hellish dimension, and it brought something back with it. While the theatrical version is plenty gruesome with body horror and psychological terror, it was nothing compared to what Anderson first put together. Here is the shocking part. The original cut of Event Horizon was over 2 hours long and included an additional 30 minutes of footage that was so graphically violent and psychologically disturbing that test audiences reportedly walked out, and some even got physically sick. We're talking about extended sequences of the crew's descent into madness, with scenes of extreme torture, mutilation, and supernatural horror that went far beyond what made it to the final film. For example, there was a notorious scene known as the Blood Orgy, where the crew of the original mission is shown in hellish, surreal flashes being torn apart and driven to unspeakable acts of violence. The footage was so intense that the MPAA flat out told the studio Paramount that the movie would never get an R rating. It was heading straight for an NC-17, which at the time was basically a death sentence for a major studio release. But here's where it gets even crazier and sadder for horror fans. Because the test screenings went so poorly and the studio panicked, it demanded drastic cuts. Anderson was forced to remove nearly half an hour of footage, and in one of the great tragedies of modern horror history, that cut footage wasn't just shelved, it was allegedly destroyed. The story goes that the original negatives were stored in a salt mine in Transylvania, of all places, and due to poor storage conditions, they degraded beyond recovery. No one, not even Anderson, has ever seen that full original version since. What we're left with are a few grainy, low-quality VHS workprint snippets that leaked online over the years, giving us only a tiny, haunting glimpse into what might have been one of the most extreme horror films ever released by a major studio. This lost footage isn't just a piece of movie trivia, it represents a what-if moment that horror fans still talk about today. Event Horizon, even in its cut form, went on to become a cult classic, but many argue that the missing scenes would have fully realized the film's vision of cosmic horror. It makes you wonder how much more impactful and terrifying the movie could have been if audiences had experienced the full, unfiltered nightmare that Paul W.S. Anderson originally intended to unleash. It's kind of amazing to think that in an age where everything seems saved and restorable, there's this whole layer of horror history that's just gone. A ghost in the machine, forever lost to time, makes you appreciate how brave or crazy filmmakers have to be to really go for it. So what do you think? Should studios ever be allowed to destroy footage like that, or is it part of our cinematic history that deserves to be preserved no matter how disturbing?